Hello, everyone. We are the group Period Power. Our group members are Cassidy, Jessica Grace, Rachel, Lemore, Tahila, Jessica Cohen, and myself, Holly. And today we're going to talk about women's health, specifically all about periods. So, the idea came to us because we recognize that there's a lack of awareness and education about period health among young girls. Especially after rotating with pediatric populations, we noticed that when providers ask questions about this topic, a lot of girls are uncomfortable talking about their periods or they lack the knowledge about what to expect when they're going to get a period. And additionally, as a group of females, we have all experienced a taboo surrounding this topic about talking about our periods, especially at a young age. We've all experienced a time when we felt confused or in the dark about our menstrual health, and we didn't always have someone to go to without feeling shame or embarrassment. For example, I remember having one 45-minute session in sixth grade discussing the anatomy and physiology behind periods, and it was never discussed again. And now, after talking about it as a group, we know that a lot of us found it really uncomfortable to talk about our periods, sometimes even with our own parents, solely because of the cultural taboo surrounding it. And today, a lot of girls find it hard to ask for feminine products when they need them, or tell their teachers or supervisors they need to be excused for menstrual related reasons. And this often leads to avoiding it by making up excuses or like hiding in the bathroom during PE class. And it can feel like they're the only ones experiencing this because of the lack of open dialogue. So, we want to open the gates for discussion about periods and we want to start the conversation early before girls get their periods so they're prepared for what's to come. Our thought is that if we show a group of girls that we are open and willing to talk about our periods by sharing personal anecdotes and educating them in a way they can easily digest, we hope it will set an example that there shouldn't be shame or embarrassment around this topic. So, our main goal with our intervention is to educate a group of female adolescents on their menstrual cycles and create an all female, open, and welcoming environment to discuss an often taboo topic in our culture. So, the problem statement we came up with is that female elementary students in East Los Angeles County need earlier education regarding menstrual health and female anatomy because there's a lack of education and a negative stigma surrounding these topics.
While not abundant, we were able to find some research articles regarding menstrual health education and statistics in the United States. Some highlights from these articles are that in one article, 17% of low economic status young females report missing at least one day of school due to not having period supplies. That same article also reported that over 70% of these females missed at least one day of school due to heavy flow or period cramps. In another article, only 2% of teens reported receiving any education from their healthcare provider about their menstrual cycle. And lastly, in an article, 48% of respondents reported that at least once last school year, they did not have the money for period products. Our group decided to focus our intervention on SBA 7 in Los Angeles since many of us had the opportunity to rotate here and work with women in this area. Some statistics include that only 30% of women here received counseling or information about birth control from a doctor or medical provider in the past year. 1 in 4 women report difficulty accessing medical care with no consistent source of primary care. 33% of adults have less than a high school diploma. 67% of students are eligible for free or reduced lunch. And women here have higher rates of cervical cancer, breast cancer, and unintended pregnancy. After our research, it became clear to our group that there is clearly some gap in information and consistency in regards to menstrual health education in our country as a whole. Our SBA is within the Los Angeles Public School District, and their current curriculum typically begins in the 5th grade. This includes information on the menstrual cycle, the anatomy of the reproductive system, and how to manage periods. It also includes different types of menstrual products, such as pads and tampons, and how to use them safely and hygienically. While Los Angeles School District does have this curriculum in place, the problem we identified really lies within the fact that many females are starting their menstrual cycles at a younger and younger age. As you can see in this graph, the age of menarche has steadily declined throughout the 1900s and continues to decline. A quick Stat Pearls search based off 2022 data shows that women are beginning their menstrual cycles around 10 to 16 years old. Therefore, there are many children starting their menstrual cycles as early as 4th grade, which is prior to these interventions taking place within schools. This gap is where we decided to focus our intervention and target 4th and 5th grade females at our partnership school.
I'm Jessica Grace, and I'm going to be talking about the intervention. All of this research, in addition to our clinical rotation experience, led to developing our partnership with Hamasaki Elementary School in East Los Angeles, where we would provide a 45-minute in person educational session to fourth and fifth grade girls. The topics covered in the intervention aligned with our objectives and included understanding basic female anatomy and menstruation concepts, recognizing light, medium, and heavy flow, and becoming familiar with the various period products. The partnership with Hamasaki Elementary School allowed us to provide a private, safe, and conversational place of interaction to talk about periods, allotted the time during school hours, making it convenient for girls to attend, and develop a lasting relationship with a school in which future PA students will be able to continue the educational intervention. We were able to establish our intervention relationship with the help of our USC PA Pathways program. Our intervention required preparation of the following: creating a period power 8.5 by 11 handout in Canva to guide our session and give the girls a familiar form of media to take home and reference, writing pre and post quizzes to be completed by participants to assess the effectiveness of the intervention based on our objectives, acquiring pads and tampons for intervention demonstration, making fake menstrual blood using corn syrup, chocolate syrup, and red food coloring, creating a pad poster with three pads lined up next to each other for flow simulation. And you can see that in the bottom right photo on this screen. And lastly, having the legal guardians of participants complete a permission slip to attend the session. Here is a closer look at the period power handout. On the day of our intervention, we arrived at Hamasaki Elementary School as a group and were greeted by the principal and vice principal. They walked us to the private classroom equipped with smartboard technology and desks. The fourth and fifth grade girls were brought to the private classroom and chaperoned by the vice principal and two other female aides who remained for the duration of the intervention. 29 girls were in attendance. After the girls were able to find a comfortable seat in the classroom, we introduced ourselves and disclosed our affiliation with the USCPA program. Next, we told the classroom we would begin the period education talk with a pre quiz to be completed with pen or pencil. We told the girls that the quiz was not for a grade and to answer the questions to the best of their ability. As the girls were completing their pre quiz, we split up and walked around the classroom to collect the quizzes. As soon as all the quizzes were collected, we began presenting the educational information to the participants, beginning with basic female anatomy, followed by understanding what menstruation is. The next aspect of the intervention educated the girls on the various sanitary products available, including pads, tampons, panty liners, and menstrual cups. During this time, we were able to demonstrate opening each of the different products in front of the classroom. On the bottom right corner of the screen, you can find a photo of the pad placement activity. Next, we use the pad poster and fake period blood to demonstrate the difference between light, medium, and heavy flow. The short video clip on the left shows part of the demonstration. After giving each participant a pad to open, we gave them the opportunity to practice pad placement on a poster board cut out to mimic that of a bikini brief. We then guided the girls on proper removal and pad disposal. The video clip on the right showcases the pad placement interactive activity. Throughout the intervention, we paused and allowed space for the girls to ask questions as they arose. Doing this further facilitated a safe conversational space for the next aspect of our intervention. The final aspect of our intervention was an open group conversation about PMS, cultural taboo around periods, when to seek help about menstruation, how to prepare to get your period for the first time, and how to handle getting your period at school. To end our intervention, we distributed the post quiz and collected them as completed. The vice principal shared words of reinforcement and reassurance to the girls on their school support to help them with their period if they need before dismissing them back to their regular school schedule. This is a photo of us taken after the intervention, which I think we can attest was one of the most incredible experiences.
One important aspect of health literacy when teaching young girls about their menstrual cycle is to avoid using complex medical terms or jargon that may confuse or overwhelm them. We use visual aids such as diagrams or videos to help explain the process in a way that's easier to understand. Additionally, we need to have resources available for individuals who speak other languages. Most of our students were comfortable taking the pre and post questionnaires in English, but we ensured that there were teachers available to translate the content in Spanish as necessary. We also need to practice cultural humility when discussing menstruation. East Los Angeles is one of the most predominantly Hispanic or Latino communities in the United States. Therefore, we need to be mindful of how other cultures and religions view sexual and reproductive health. It is important to recognize that each individual's experience with menstruation is unique and be respectful of their cultural, religious, and personal beliefs. Many of our students shared that they learned about their menstrual cycle from their mothers or grandmothers, but others shared that menstruation is not a topic of discussion in their household. Creating a safe and supportive environment is also important when discussing menstruation. Many young girls may feel embarrassed or ashamed about their periods, so we need to make sure that they feel comfortable sharing their experiences by ensuring privacy. It's important to be sensitive to any past trauma that they may have experienced related to their bodies and to provide support where needed. We incorporated this into our presentation by sharing embarrassing stories about our own menstrual cycles to decrease any shame or embarrassment the students may feel. Finally, we need to consider equity and inclusion when teaching about the menstrual cycle. This means using gender inclusive language and recognizing that boys and men can also benefit from learning about menstruation. It is important to recognize intersectionality, which refers to the interconnected nature of social identities such as race, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, and socioeconomic status, and how these factors can impact individuals' experience with menstruation and create barriers to equity and inclusion. In conclusion, we need to break the cycle of shame and confusion surrounding the menstrual cycle by empowering young girls with accurate information and creating a safe and supportive environment where they feel comfortable discussing it.
Here are the objectives that we focused our pre and post quiz questions around. The 4 objectives are based on providing an educational intervention, increasing the confidence of the female participants regarding period knowledge, how period products work, and finally, increasing the level of confidence in the 4th and 5th grade female participants in talking to healthcare providers about this topic. This next slide shows the questions we had the students complete. We used simple yes, no, pictures, and a smile face scale to ensure the age group understood the questions asked. We had a total of 29 female students in the 4th and 5th grade who participated. For the analysis, we compared the pre and post questions in parallel by looking both at the raw data numbers and then made a bar graph showing all the questions together. On the x-axis are all the questions from the survey that I previously showed. The y-axis is broken up into percentages from 0 to 100. Pre-quiz average results are in orange and post-quiz average results are in pink. As you can see from the comparison results, the percentage of correct answers increased after our intervention. Therefore, this shows that there is effectiveness from our intervention to some degree. The only question that did not follow this trend was question 4, which was circle which picture is a menstrual pad, which dropped from 93% of the correct answer to 72% post-intervention, and which picture was light flow remained the same number of percentage at 72% in answering correctly.
Now moving on to the objective analysis. Our first objective was for the students to identify 3 different menstrual care products. In one of our questions, we had the students try to identify or circle what they thought a pad was. It seems like they may have been a little confused since more students ended up circling a menstrual cup on the post-exam test versus the pre-test. So this is something we may need to be a little more clear about in the future. For our second objective, it was to increase the level of confidence regarding period knowledge. So when asked, do you know why females get a period? We went from 7 yeses to 24 yeses from pre and post tests. So we met that objective. For our third objective, it was for the students to identify a heavy, light, regular flow, and the results remained unchanged from the pre and post test. And for our final objective, it was to increase overall confidence in students talking to their trusted adult or healthcare provider about any period-related knowledge. And so we did have a handful of students who increased their comfortability in period knowledge and in talking about that. So we hope that translates into real life. While there are many things that went right during our intervention, there are a few things we could have improved on. One being our question number 3, how often do you get a period? Based on our unclear results, we believe the students did not fully understand the meaning of the question. I think the students thought the question was asking how often do they personally get a period, but we really meant how often do females in general get a period. So if we had the chance to redo this intervention, we would make this question a little more clear and change the wording. But overall, we believe this project was successful in what we aimed to do, which was ultimately help educate and empower young girls about the menstrual cycle. For some of our stars, it would be providing an all-girl environment with all female facilitators. We think this created a warm and comfortable environment. We enjoyed performing the interactive activity and watching the students participate, learn, have some fun. And we also enjoyed sharing some of our own personal stories because we thought this made us seem a little more relatable and approachable. For something we wished we could have done was have more time with the students. We felt a little rushed and they had such excellent questions. And so I think with this comes for better organization and planning in the future. And we wish we could have done more interventions.
On an individual level, our foundational goal was to spread awareness to young girls about what their bodies go through each month and what to expect when getting their menstrual cycle. This process starts by providing clear and concise, age appropriate education beginning at their school. The role of healthcare providers is crucial in making discussions about menstrual health a routine part of their physicals in adolescent females. By providing an educational experience for the 4th and 5th grade girls about their period, we can help them understand the changes happening in their body and reduce the stigma surrounding menstruation. Additionally, healthcare providers should also create a safe environment where young girls feel comfortable in asking questions and learning more about their bodies. At a practice level, we created fun and interactive educational activities about the female anatomy and menstrual cycle to spread awareness within the community. By creating a supportive environment that promotes open and honest conversations about menstrual health, we can empower young girls to take control of their bodies and reduce the fear and shame that often accompanies periods. At the community level, we can work towards increasing access to free or reduced price menstrual products for young girls and teenagers. Lack of access to menstrual products can have serious consequences on a girl's education and overall health, so it's important to ensure that every girl has access to the resources she needs. Finally, at the state and federal level, we can advocate for policies that increase access to menstrual products, such as the provisions of free or reduced price products in schools and public spaces. By creating a more equitable society that prioritizes the health and well being of all individuals, we can work towards eliminating the stigma and shame surrounding periods. In conclusion, by addressing menstrual health at different levels of society, we can create a more informed, supportive, and equitable society for all individuals.
Thank you to our community partners, Hamasaki Elementary School. And thanks for listening to our presentation.